Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is it's 8:58 a.m. on Thursday, May 24. My name is Cheryl Renitza, serving as chair for today's parole. My colleagues on the panel seated to my left is Mr. Danny Bach. To my right is Mr. Chuck Tillis. We are at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, and staff here would please introduce yourself to the record.
Whitney Trucks.
Sure, thank you.
Francis Abbott.
Our first remote location this morning is at Union Parish Detention Center, and we have before us Mr. Gibson. Good morning, Mr. Gibson. Can you hear us?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Would you introduce yourself, tell us your name and your DOC number, please?
Antonio Gibson, 749-430.
Yes, 749-430.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have an officer there in the room with you. Officer, would you please introduce yourself for the record, sir?
Introduce yourself.
Sergeant Nation.
All right. Thank you, Sergeant Nation, for accommodating us this morning. Mr. Gibson, I also see you're represented by counsel this morning. Counsel, would you introduce yourself for the record, please?
I'm Devin Jones. I'm the attorney for Mr. Gibson.
Right. Thank you, counsel. We also have Shania McGee and Johannes Dixon, who are both here in support and will be speaking at the appropriate time. Mr. Gibson, the way this will go, I will read the allegation against you, and you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. We'll have a conversation about it. We'll hear from your witnesses who want to speak, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Jones for his presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
You ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones, if at any time you need to jump in, feel free to do so.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Gibson, we're here for a revocation decision because you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 4, and it reads, on March 27, 2024, you were arrested by the Parish Sheriff's Office for domestic abuse battery with child endangerment. On April 12, 2024, that charge was dismissed. However, how do you plead to violating condition number 4 of your parole conditions?
Not guilty.
And so your case has been assigned to me, Mr. Gibson, so I'm going to take the lead on the interview this morning. So you were detained, that was March 27, 2024. So you've been in jail since then.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, tell us what happened that caused you to be in jail in the first place. Why were you arrested?
A traffic violation. They had pulled me over.
And so why were you arrested for domestic abuse battery?
March 2023, my kid's mother had asked me to watch the kids while she go out of town for a party, and I volunteered into that. And when she came back, it looked like she had been into altercation, but I started asking her. She had got overexcited with me. We got into an argument, and then I just left. My sister told me that she had called the police. I reported to my parole officer immediately. And then, I still reported to my parole officer. I still kept making my payments. And I never even knew I had a warrant.
So let me get to the report. When did the incident occur? Alleged incident, I should say.
Sometime in March.
I believe it was March of 2023.
March 13, 2023. And when did you report to your parole officer? You reported, or you didn't know, you say you didn't know you had a warrant for your arrest.
Yeah, but I still told him about the incident. I still told him what happened because my sister told me she called that my kid's mother had called the police. So I told him about it, and I told him to look into it for me, but he never got back with me on it. because I guess he didn't see no warrant either. So I just kept reporting, kept paying him.
So you
Kept paying my
advised
own.
him, shortly after the incident happened, you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see if I see it. I don't see that in his notes. Amen. Yeah, I don't see that in the officer's notes. Your office was, Henson, Mr. Henson was your officer?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what we have was that this is the information we have. I'm just gonna share it with you. You, at the time, it was, Miss McGee, your live-in girlfriend, she kicked you out because, and you got angry. Both of children, and I think that's both of your
Yes,
children,
ma'am.
ages 5 and 7 were present. The allegation is that you struck her multiple times. There was one of the children who gave testimony to police that confirms you struck her several times. Why would the child say?
I really can't tell you, but I know we never put our hands on each other, period.
Right,
I don't
and you
even-
said after she had gone to the party and came back, you noticed marks on her? Like something had happened
Yes,
to
man.
her?
Her shirt was ripped up, her hair was over her head. I was asking her about it. She got overexcited with me. I just kept asking her about it.
Okay, let me ask for the testimony of both of those people present, and then we'll see if we have, what other questions we have. Ms. McGee, we'd like to hear from you first.
No, this is the victim.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, what information would you like us to know?
I was out all night at a party. Excuse me. He did keep my kids and other stuff went on before I made it home or whatever. We was just like in an argument or whatever. My kids was in the living room and my daughter, like she's very dramatic, so she really don't know what's going on. She just hearing me talk, so she's just going off what I'm saying.
She's
So
going
my
off of
kids was
what you're
yes,
saying? She said,
she's going off what I'm saying because I'm talking to myself with other people, but my kids were never in the room while we were arguing. We never had no physical altercation or whatever. It's just, yeah,
why did you call the police?
because I want him to leave.
So you're saying he refused to leave?
Yeah, at the time. By the time the police came, he was gone.
Anything else?
Ma'am?
Anything else you want us to know?
Oh, no.
All right, well, thank you for being here this morning. Mr. Barra has a question for you.
You did tell the police that he had punched you in the chest and tore your shirt, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't really too much remember.
Okay, and then
But I know we never had no altercation. I had a fight with some friends before I made it home. It was just a lot going on. I did tell a lie to the police, but I didn't know it was gonna go this far.
so you saying your daughter or whoever the 7-year-old was never saw any of this happening. You told
No.
them what your version was and she just repeated it. Is that how it went? How did she, because she told the police that she saw him hitting you. And I'm just wondering where the 7-year-old comes up with a story like that. And you said you told her or she overheard you or something like that.
No, I said she's overhearing a conversation.
What? Well, I was talking over you. I didn't hear you.
She's overhearing a conversation. She's hearing bits and pieces. But at the same time, she's very dramatic and they don't know what's going on.
And the conversation she's overhearing is You telling it to the police, or who else was there?
No, she's overhearing the conversation with me and someone else.
All right, that's all I have. For her.
So there was someone else in the home?
No,
So you were talking to somebody on the phone or something?
right.
All right, thank you. Ms. Dixon, could we hear from you, please?
Hello, I'm Antonio's girlfriend. My name is Honesty. Um, Basically, I just wanted to say I've been with Antonio for going on a year now. Shania, she's a great mother. Antonio, he's a great father. They're great co-parents. Shania does work a lot, so when she needs help, she calls Antonio, and he's always there for her. That's what I've noticed so far. I haven't seen any drama or bitterness between any of them. So when I found out this news, it came to a shock to me because I would have never seen or thought Tonio would ever do something like that to Shania or to me, because I would put myself in Shania's shoes. And that's just all I have to say about the situation. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for speaking with us this morning. Are there any more questions of Mr. Gibson?
Yeah.
Mr. Barrow?
Mr. Gibson, if we were to release you, where do you plan on living and with who?
My sister.
Your sister?
In the form of it, yes, sir.
All right.
All right, we'd like to hear from your attorney, Mr. Jones. What can you offer, please?
Thank you. And excuse everything. I'm 2 hours behind you, so it's actually 7:10 my time. I had a vacation planned and they scheduled this meeting. So excuse everything, but I'm sitting in my condo room in Vegas. That said, I've spoke with all these parties and I was a prosecutor for a long time. I know Mr. Henson. I talked with Mr. Henson regarding this. He said he did tell me, look, he did tell me that they had gotten into it. And I told him, look, if they issue anything, you need to let me know. And Brian said, yeah, I was aware of it, but nothing ever came. I said, okay. So I talked with Honesty. I talked with Shania. I said, tell me what went on. There was an affidavit that we actually submitted electronically that I had Shania fill out, that she came into the office and said, tell me what went on. And it basically, here's what went from what I was able to get from them this instant. And I get why some people are apprehensive to say, hey, I may not have told the truth to the cops, because doing it here probably has less likelihood of some blowback. Doing it in state court is going to have a problem. But the basic issue was that Shania had gone to a concert, stayed out all night. When she came back, she was, well, semi-intoxicated. And that's what she stated, that she'd been into it with somebody. She went to a concert. She was still intoxicated. When she got back, her and Antonio got into it because of the way she looked in her intoxicated state. He didn't want to leave the kids with her. She said, you need to leave. He said, I don't want to leave my kids with you. She said, no, you have to go. Well, when she picked up the phone and called the cops, he knows he's on parole. He got out of Dodge real quick. That's a guaranteed way to make somebody leave who's on parole, is to say you're calling the cops. So he left. What she said to the police from there, I can probably fill in the gaps with the affidavit. We emailed it down probably 10 days ago. I can provide a copy now if there's an address to provide a copy to. If it's not there, that she signed a notarized affidavit that really provides clarity to this situation. And since that point forward, Shania, Antonio, and Honesty have just basically worked together as co-parents. And when they came into my office, I said, tell me what went on, because I was a domestic violence prosecutor. I worked for Jerry Jones, who put the actual domestic abuse battery law on the books. I think 3 of the amendments I helped author through Bob Kostelka. I'm kind of passionate about it. I don't tend to represent people who commit it. It's just hard to shed my prosecutor days from it. But that said, it was really reasonable to understand really what the story was. I get it. She came home still intoxicated, has been in a fight. He's got a lot of questions leaving his small kids there. She gets upset, gets out of my house. And from that point forward, nobody ever thought anything happened. She knew the cops came. He knew the cops had came. He reported it to Mr. Henson, who, as I understand now, has not made notes about it, but confirmed it with me. And then they thought they went on down by the wayside till you get the traffic stop. And once it got to the prosecutor's office, before even an arraignment, they dismissed it. It's one of those situations where I understand that a conviction is what required in parole. Parole is a much lower standard. You can't be involved in criminal activity. I just think in this instance, this is one of those instances where I don't believe there was criminal activity that he was involved in. I believe it takes somebody getting in there like I had to do and talk to all these parties and say, hey, I'm not the police. I'm not going to put you in jail. Just tell me what really happened. And I think that's what you got today. And I think you got it today from Shania when she said, look, I didn't tell the truth to the cops. But I think where we're at is I don't think this is the point where somebody needs to be revoked. Maybe putting yourself in a situation like that gets you sanctioned, but not revoked.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Gibson, anything you want to say to us before we vote?
No, ma'am.
All right, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Gibson, you know, like Mr. Jones says, domestic issues are kind of one of my pet peeves. But based on the testimony I've heard today, my vote today will be to do not revoke, return you to supervision. We will issue a reprimand, and I hope that you do well on supervision. Mr. Byron.
I'm going to go ahead and concur with Ms. Renatza, but add a special condition that you take the anger management class, and also that you have no unsupervised visits with Shania. If you're going to meet with her, you need to have another adult present, and this is to protect you from her deciding that, you know, it's time for you to go to jail or be out the life. So if you're going to meet with her to do kid swaps and things like that, you need to bring somebody with you every time. And complete the anger management, and I'm good with a reprimand and release.
Mr. Tilley.
I concur with my colleagues.
All right, Mr. Gibson, there you go. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
y'all.
Mr. Jones. Thanks, everybody who testified today. We're going to sign off, Parish. It is 9:16.
Thank you.
But the kids.
Thank you.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.